So the question I get asked probably the most from buyers is, how much money do I need when I'm purchasing a home? And the answer to that question is, it depends, right? So I'm Maureen Mahood, broker owner of Sell Your Home Charlotte here in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. And in this video, we're going to go over what you would need if you wanted to purchase a home here in Charlotte. So there's different buckets, I guess you could call it, for what you need for purchasing a home. So there's a mortgage bucket, and then there's also the bucket of like your inspections and that, and then there's also your bucket for your upfront things for your due diligence and your earnest money. So let's go over the first thing is going to be for your mortgage. So when you get a mortgage, you can do a variety of different types of mortgages. There's FHA, there's conventional, there's VA, there's USDA, just to name a few. And there's a couple of different, the USDA and the VA, actually, for your down payment on those mortgages, you don't need any money. Those are 0% down programs. And FHA and conventional both have programs that are usually around 3%, 3.5% as the lowest, and you can go up to whatever you want to, obviously. So there are some pros to putting more money down on FHA and conventional, but usually if you don't have it, that's where you're going to put the least amount. You can get, for your down payment, you can get a gift from a family member for those as well. And, we could talk to your mortgage lender about that. So if you don't have the money and you have like a rich family, then, if they want to be nice, they can give you some money. So that's for your mortgage, for your down payment. And then you're also going to talk about, for the other bucket, is going to be for your closing costs. So closing costs can be anywhere, it's up to like 3% of the closing of the house. So it really depends, or the mortgage. So it depends also on the origination points and how much the taxes are and how much the insurance is, because you escrow that. But the good news is we're in a market right now, which we haven't been in for a long time, that you can ask the seller to pay your closing costs. So sometimes you don't even need to have that money. We can ask for it from the seller. Now, if you are going into a multiple offer situation, it gets a little tricky when you're trying to ask for closing costs, because sometimes you have to go higher than what they want for it in order for them to choose you. And then it's also appraised. But it is what it is, but we can ask for it. And if that doesn't work out on that house, maybe another house it'll work out on. For the last like 3 years, you couldn't ask for anything. So it's yay for that. So you need less money now than you did even a year ago. And then you have the things for your contract, your due diligence money and your earnest money. So we're a due diligence state here in North Carolina. And when you go under contract with the seller, part of your contract is going to be writing out 2 checks. So these checks are negotiable. You don't have to do anything. You could say, well, I'm not giving you any money, but it's customary to do a due diligence and an earnest money check. And your due diligence check is your upfront risk money. And so that's what you pay to the seller. And it goes against, like when you close, it goes towards your sale. But if you decide to cancel, that money doesn't come back to you. The seller keeps it. And then the earnest money goes into an escrow account, and that money is protected for a certain period of time. So those checks can be, 500, 700, whatever. It's a percent, usually a percentage. And it also depends. So I've had clients that, even with their inspections, and we'll talk about that in a second, they've closed on a house with less than $2,000, earnest money, due diligence money, and inspection money. So it's not like you need, because they got closing costs from the seller and they got down payment assistance money. So if money is a problem, but you have a good job, we can, and you could qualify for the mortgage, we can try and figure it out. So we just need to sit down and kind of put some puzzle pieces together. So let's talk about, so we talked about down payment money, closing costs, due diligence money, earnest money. And now let's go outside to the things that are fees. So these are things that are outside the contract that you're going to do, like your home inspection, a radon inspection, maybe a well inspection, maybe a septic inspection, anything that you want to do to make sure that this house is, good for you. Um, you're going to want to pay an inspector to do that. So those can range anywhere from like 500 and up, depending. It depends on the size of the house. It depends on the age of the house. There's a lot of things that come into it. So we can, once we see the house that you want, then we know what the inspections and how many inspections we need. And then the other thing is you're going to have to, since you're getting a loan, you're going to have to do an appraisal. Now, an appraisal is usually around $500 to $700, and it's basically you pay for it, but the bank chooses the appraiser. So the appraiser's job is to go out and make sure that the house is worth what you're willing to pay. And if we've done our work up front, and you work with a buyer's agent that knows how to price a house. So you want to make sure that when you hire a buyer's agent, they also do listings too, because you get a big skill set. There's a skill set there that you can transfer over to the buyer side of it in knowing what to offer on houses, how much due diligence to offer, how much earnest money. If you're seeing the other side of that contract as a seller's agent, on other houses that you're doing, then you get a really good idea about how the market's going. So, bottom line, everybody's different when it comes to how much money you're going to need when you want to purchase a house. And you could, like I said, I've had clients get into houses using down payment assistance for less than $2,000 out of their pocket. And then I've had clients that have put $100,000 down on houses because they sold a house. So really, we need to sit down and we go through your situation and figure it out. But you can need to budget at least for your inspections, due diligence, and earnest money about $2,000. And then if you qualify for down payment assistance, that can cover your down payment. If you don't qualify for down payment assistance, then we're going to have to figure something out if you can borrow from 401ks or family members, or you might have to continue saving, but you can do as little as 3% in most instances. And there are some, like I said, some programs out there where it's zero. So I'm Maureen Mahood, broker owner of Sell Your Home Charlotte. I've helped hundreds of people buy houses in the Charlotte metro and sell houses too. So I have both sides of the equation. And if you are interested in exploring exact figures, just give me a call and let's sit down and have coffee or a glass of wine, and we'll hash out the numbers and see if it makes sense for you. And if it does, it's great. Let's get you on your journey to home ownership. Maureen Mahood, Sell Your Home Charlotte. Beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina, and nobody sells Charlotte like we do.